they used to tell me that, unless and until you want all your sexual organs, sex organs replaced with the other gender, you are not trans. So my name is Dan. You can also call me July. My pronouns are he, him, or they, them. You can use either of them, both of them. I think, how do I identify as myself? I mean, Freddie Mercury is my gender. Can I say that?
Yeah. It's your gender.
Yeah, he is my gender, and a lot of other Bollywood stars are my gender. So just 2 weeks back, there was this thing, like there was this page that I did an interview for, and they were I was talking about me being an autistic trans person, and like growing up and puberty and things like that. And during that time, when I was talking to them, I realized that so my dysphoria, when I was young, I was a late bloomer, and I didn't develop like a lot of chest when I was 16 or 17. Everything happened post that. And before that, I used to be a very good runner. But when I started developing, my breasts started becoming bigger, is when I stopped running. And when I was having that conversation with them, about this, I realized that I was just telling them that I loved running a lot because it helped with my ADHD, to regulate my ADHD. I only used to run a lot, like even for not athletic purposes also. Like if I have to get something from the market, I'll just go run and come. And that time I realized that it was because my flat chest back then used to help me also to run a lot, but as soon as I started growing up a little and my chest started developing, my dysphoria, it was my dysphoria that suddenly stopped me from running and feeling uncomfortable with my body, and it was also hindering my running. And even a lot of other people, like your parents and all, shaming you for having a bigger chest and how it looks when you're running. It looks dirty, you should not run, and things like that. Like a lot of things. And I realized at that time, like while I was talking to them about it, that my first actual discomfort from my chest was dysphoria, which we call it, came around when I was 25. And that's the same time when I was when I had just come out as gender fluid in the community, and there were a lot of people that I knew, and I used to talk to them about it, and they used to tell me that unless and until you want all your sexual organs, sex organs replaced with the other gender, you are not trans, or you're supposed to be this add-on. They were like, we don't know what only the discomfort with your chest means. Maybe you're not like trans. And that kind of delayed my whole gender journey even longer. Like it took even longer for me to realize that I don't have to hate all parts of my body to identify as trans. And at the same time, I was looking at representations which were not in India, obviously, but like there were people outside India who were expressing their gender in very different ways than what I was looking at in India. Like for example, that's where I came across my identity also of demi boy, where I do not completely identify as a man, but partially identify as a boy and partially as a gender. And that, I don't know, I've always in the beginning, to be very honest, when I was a teenager, being constantly shamed for not having bigger breasts was the issue. And when I grew up, I realized that I don't like them either. Like I wish I was flat chested. But it's not that I have dysphoria to a degree where I hate them. I do not hate it. I do not hate the presence. It's just that the fact that everybody looks at those two blobs of fat and then categorizes me in that box of women is what I have a problem with. And even if I get top surgery any day, it is for me to be happy in my own body and not for other people. But yeah, in the sense that I've been always comfortable with it, that I don't have issues wearing a bikini and going out on a beach. I've done that. Initially I felt very scared because not grown up in that kind of environment where you are allowed to do all these things, but it was kind of liberating, and I didn't see myself as a female bodied person. I'm just a boy who wore a bikini and went to the beach. That's it. So this question, whenever I get asked this question, so when I talk to kids, I'm a teacher and I teach young kids, I teach 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds, and when they ask me this question, that why you are born a girl and you want to be a boy and things like that, and I'm like, yeah, who can define yourself other than you? Nobody. I ask them, can anybody else decide what you are or who you are or how you feel, or you can decide, or you decide better about how you feel about yourself and who you are? And for me, it's just that. And whenever it comes to asking them to use my name or pronouns, and I just tell them that it makes me feel happy. And for personally also, it's just that for me. Somebody calling me a boy, actually looking me as a boy, using my pronouns, that just makes me happy. It just brings a smile on my face. And outside of that, whatever I do, whatever I wear, however I look, that is a boy doing all those things. So that's just what being transmasc means to me. There is a lot of times people want to know what masculinity means to you. It just doesn't mean anything. It's just whatever I do is masculine. If I wear nail polish, it is masculine because it's a boy doing it. So I don't know. And I mean, why do we have to even categorize what is masculine and what is feminine? For me, I think what I have done is and I have done all those things because I've seen other trans people transcend all the meanings of masculinity and femininity. So you define your own masculinity or your own gender and however you want to present it. Yes. Thane. It's I have been reminded of it by everybody around me. Except I didn't realize it, but I've been reminded of it as soon as I started college, because that's when I stepped out of Thane. So yeah, not grown up in Bombay. I don't know. I don't feel anything about it right now, but I can tell you how it felt when I was made to realize that I come from a place that is not cool enough for the people in town. So I went to a college which was in Sobo. I got admission there because I'm female-bodied. There's no other reason, because the college takes women. And they have a separate, they have a very low percentage cutoff to get admission. So yeah, but everybody there came from different class and caste and everything, all of that. And I've heard quite a few times that Thane is such a village, wahan pe kuch nahi milta na, they act as if they don't know where it is, or they've never been there. They might have been there, but and I never had anything to say because I used to be just quiet about it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I like Thane. It's fine. Like, I mean, there's nothing different that I could see. But yeah, there was a culture shock about a lot of things, because like it's like Thane में कोई भी fashion trend 5 साल बाद आएगा. Like after Sobo, it comes to Sobo, and 5 years later, back then it was like that. So yeah, it felt like yes, it's very isolating. And in college, I didn't have like many friends. I just had one friend who I had, and that was also because we had all 3 classes, like 3 subjects. All the 3 subjects that we had taken were same, so we used to be together in all the 3 classes. So when I was in college, also I had no idea about my even my sexuality. Forget about my gender. Like, I didn't know anything about myself that way. And when I came to like college in town, I saw people dressing up way differently than I had seen in Thane, or breaking the norms of like gender stereotypical clothing, not wearing clothes that generally are supposed to be worn by a particular gender and things like that. And for me, it was a shock, and in a way a revelation that okay, I can do this. Like, this is possible. This is a reality in this world. Why didn't I know about this? Like, why didn't I know that I can also do anything I want to with my hair and my clothes? Because as far as I know, even in Thane, when I lived as a child also, I've worn all kinds of clothes, but then I was just labeled the tomboy if I did that. And when that happened, when I was a kid, I literally stopped doing that, because nobody was being friends with me. So I performed a lot of femininity up until like 12th grade, all my life, till I was in Thane. So when I came to college here, it was different, and it felt nice. And that's when I had like long hair, this long hair, when I joined college, and like I cut it off like in the first 6 months, like to a pixie, and that felt really good. Like, I felt like, wow, this feels like lighter. And from there, all my, like, the questioning of my gender and my sexuality, everything started from college. Four years after I left college, 4 years I spent in, like, I was not dating anybody on purpose, because I just wanted to, like, get to know myself better. Because before that, I was in a very toxic monogamous relationship where I had, typically revolved my whole life around that guy, and I had forgotten about myself and who I was and what I want. And after that ended, was like I started discovering myself. And there was this one time we were just sitting in a cafe in Thane, and one of our co-founders, so they were also with me, and we were just chilling, like just drinking coffee and eating pizza and talking about why we don't know queer people in Thane. And like that led me to question, like, even in school, even when I was in school, our school was huge in the sense of population, where a single grade had like 7 divisions, and each division had 80 children in it. And I just know one queer person who was out even back then in school, but other than that, I don't know anybody. Even in that kind of population, like 800 people, I didn't know anybody else who was queer. And I used to think about it, like, am I alone, like, in this whole city? It's like right now it feels like ridiculous to think about it, because obviously there are so many people, but like queerness is so isolating. Like back then it was. And so we started Thane Queer Collective to literally find friends. And of course we knew there would be a lot of young queer people who would, like, because internet was like easily accessible around 2015-14, and people were looking out for each other, like they were looking for other queer people, seeking community. And we also realized that there was community, but it was all happening here in Santa Cruz, Khar, Bandra, and there was nothing for people in Thane and beyond Thane, or even for some people close to Thane, Mulund. And so we decided that if we do this, just being around queer people, for queer people it means a lot to find that space to be around someone like you. So, and you don't have to go so far to seek that, because it's just sad that you have to go so far to find community. So we thought, why not start this in Thane, so that people can come and meet and just talk. Yeah. We had our first meeting in a garden. So there was a lot of time, like at least 3 to 4 years, where I was very active in the community, and I used to go for all the events and do a lot of go talk about this, go do this. We even organized protests, this, that. We did a lot of things, and then we had the lockdown, and I had a massive burnout, and that's when I realized I'm autistic. And I realized that I am putting myself in a lot of situations where I'm not able to handle the sensory overload, but I'm still doing it because I feel like the pressure to build something or build community is on me because nobody else is doing it. And after I realized that during the lockdown, 2 years we spent at home, after that I decided that I don't want to be like a part of bigger community. I just need a few people by my side, and that's all I need, because I don't know if it's all of that is worth the burnout and the sensory exhaustion that I felt every time I've done that. So I realized what I needed, and that's what I needed. I needed lesser interactions with big number of people. So yeah, that's why it's kind of isolating, but I don't mind it, because that's what helps me stay sane and not burn out every now and then. So initially, when I was in my state board school for 5 years, I had no space to even come out. And after the lockdown, I did get out of that space and joined a better school. And to be really honest, when I joined last year also, I was in a very accepting school. The school environment was very inclusive. And for that, again, for me, that was like a shock, like culture shock or like workspace shock. I don't know what you call it, but I was not even aware that there are work ethics, and you're not supposed to, overwork people. And if you are feeling like you're overworked, you can communicate that, because I've always worked in a very authoritative environment where I can't even talk or say anything that this work is getting a little more, and I can't. There was no like communication happening in that sense. So in this workplace, all of that was there, and clearly the fact that when I gave the interview, I had decided that I am not going to be in the closet anymore. In the interview itself, I'm going to make sure that they know that I'm a trans person. They know that these are the challenges I face outside of school, and that is what I bring also a lot of times to school. And they were very cool about it, very supportive. Unfortunately, the school shut down. But when I was there for a year, whole good year, it was the best time that I had. Even in my current organization, the school that I work in, it's also very queer friendly. There are kids who are like non-binary in my school, and there are kids in the class who are who do not express their gender the way they're like they are told to do it. And the class environment is also very inclusive that way, that there's this boy who likes everything that the other girls in the class do, and the girls, include him in their conversations, and he's talking about, Barbie dolls and their dresses and nail polish and everything, and we are all talking about all these things, and in a way trying to, I try to, butt in sometimes and say that, everybody who has nails can wear nail polish. Why is it only reserved for girls? And then they also talk, they tell me things. They're like, yeah, pink is for everybody. It's not for just girls, and anybody can like anything they want. So, I mean, recently working in a school has been, that journey has been much easier and smoother than it was before in my previous organizations. And it's just I tell them that this is who I am. I like being called a boy, because you don't have to use jargon with small kids. They literally understand in very simpler words. Which unfortunately I found that adults find it very hard to process simple sentences. And with kids, you just have to tell them that, yeah, this is how I like being called. It makes me happy. And why wouldn't you think about making a person happy? Why would you make them sad? If you call me a girl, I would feel sad. I would feel upset. And yeah, that's all that you have to tell them. And they don't question anything after that. We even have conversations about how, if I wear a skirt and come to school, I'm still a boy who's worn a skirt and come to school. So yeah, they for me, that was also very how do I put this? There's no word to it. It feels so good that kids are more accepting of you than adults have ever been. Because as an adult, I have worn a dress and went to a queer event and been asked, oh, you identify as a boy, why are you wearing a dress? And cut to today in my school, I wear a skirt and go to school, and they still call me dancer. No questions, no doubts, no scratching out your identity. And you don't have to do that with kids at all. And with adults, I've always had to just lay everything out for them to be comfortable with my identity. Whereas with kids, I've never had to do that. So in my previous school, I had never had that problem, because I think we had you have those orientations in the beginning of the year, and during orientations we introduce ourselves to the parents, right? We meet one-on-one with each parent and child, or to both the parents and the child, or one parent, whatever. And I introduced myself as, there's a PPT there, and it was all lockdown, so it was all online. So we had made PPT presentations, and it's written dance, or he likes this, he likes art, so the description that was also written is in my pronouns, and they know. So this is how, I don't have to say it. So it's just there, without any, explicitly not putting it out there, but it's there. And during PTA meetings also, they've called me dancer the whole year. I never had to say or talk about my gender to them any time. Even this school, I didn't have to do that, because the kids go back home and they say dancer and they use him pronouns for me. And when they come to PTA meetings, they realize, maybe 1 or 2 times I have corrected them to use my pronouns, and they've been cool with it. Yeah. I mean, you can't look at transness in black and white, or in suffering and happiness, because literally everybody else also has both. It's just that when other people look at the things that we suffer, for them it is very vain. Because they are just looking at it in the perspective of, oh, these people are just having issues because they can't wear clothes that they want to. And that's very very Nietzsche level ka problem for them. It's not a big deal for them. But for the trans person living through that day, every day, not wearing the clothes that they are comfortable in, it's a nightmare that they are living through every day. But their inability to look at us living our lives. I mean, see, this is, I don't know how to put this, like, right, I have reached this privilege also of being in a place where I'm accepted for who I am. It's not come easily. I have like lived in a closet and suffered for 5 years, but I have been able to get out of that and be in a better place, and not everybody else can do that or has been able to do that. And we need to kind of realize and see that both these things exist, that a trans person can work and can be happy in a workplace, and at the same time there are trans people who are not happy or who are suffering in their workplace or their school or their families. I don't know if, media representations need to show that your life can be bad as well as good. Both the things can coexist. Why does it have to be just either one of them? Because as a trans person myself, I have, even if I've felt like one part of my life is extremely, like, sad, I have always tried to seek to do something to make it a little better, so that I feel good about my life. And I've never felt like, like, I wish I was not trans. I'm really happy that I am, because this is the way I look at the world, and I wouldn't want it to be any different than this. I still have some issues with it, which I realized lately, because I have tried. I want to, like, so before lockdown, I was 2 sizes smaller. Like giving the example of my binder, like I bind my chest, and before the lockdown I used to use the like M, like the size M of my binder, and throughout the lockdown obviously never used a binder because we were at home. But as soon as the lockdown got over and I wanted to wear my binder, I wouldn't fit in it. And for like time being, I just took my friend's binder who was going to get surgery soon, so he gave it to me, and it was an L and it still didn't fit me. And then I had to like buy an XL with my, and I got the binder with the binder project that we run. So yeah, I grew up 2 sizes, and that is because of the lockdown, 2 years of lockdown. And I don't know, I'm okay with dancing, I guess, but I haven't danced in a very long time. And I've tried working out, even that has not worked out really well for me. So I just walk, like I go for long walks. That's the only movement that I think I am able to give my body right now. And I am questioning all these things in therapy, that why I do not feel comfortable exercising. I guess again it is the chest that I like, because even when I'm alone, I've tried exercising even when I'm alone, and after like 15 minutes I give up. Like, so I don't know why. Still questioning all these things and trying to understand where is it coming from. But I do fantasize about working out post top surgery, or maybe, I don't know. So for me, I mean, since like I don't have extreme, like my dysphoria is not that bad that I wear a binder every day. The first binder that I got, I was literally jumping with joy, and I cried also. I cried and I wore the binder for like 8 hours because I was just too excited. I know I shouldn't have worn it for 8 hours because I was very sore after that. But that was all a learning curve. But it was really like, I don't know, I wore a shirt over it and it felt like me. Like I saw myself in the mirror, and I've always seen myself in my head as a flat-chested person. Sometimes I forget that I have big breasts, and like having that binder was everything. And even after that, even if I don't wear it regularly, but just the knowledge that I have it with me, and in case I ever feel discomfort suddenly, I can have access to it. And that's the reason that I have had it for like 5 years now. And yeah, that access to it was something that made me feel like we need to start. I struggled with buying it because I didn't have a debit card. I bought it like somebody else sponsored it for me. Like they were living in the US and they're also a trans person, and they sponsored that binder for me. And there are a lot of technicalities related to buying a binder. Like it's expensive. First of all, it costs around if you buy a single binder, it costs around 4,000 including shipping, and that's not something a teenage kid can even dream about, like accessing it. There are so many hurdles to even if you get the money, there are so many hurdles to by ordering it online. You're having your international transactions to a certain limit for you to be able to make an international transaction, having a bank account in the first place, or like your parents are now, if your parents need to buy it for you, they are not going to buy it for you. How are you going to get it? Or even if you get it delivered, how will it get delivered at home? What if your parents see it? There are so many things that we don't even think about as like adults, like who have bought a binder, because they don't think about there are younger trans people who want to access these things, but they can't because of all these things. And that's why we started Fund a Binder, keeping in mind that we are focusing only like for people who can't afford it and who are young and can't buy one for themselves. We did a lot of the form that we made had a lot of questions where we asked them, if you can't get it delivered to your home, we'll find you a person in your area so that you can meet them outside and get it. So we did our best to make sure that no matter what, we get your binder delivered to you. We fundraised, the first time that we did it, we fundraised around 35,000 and we bought 15 binders using that money. And you don't know how it felt when everybody received their binders and they were like calling me and they were crying, jumping, and it was just like I was feeling like the euphoria for them, like when that happened. Yeah, like 15 of them, and we spent a lot of time telling them about how to choose your binder and how to safely not choose a smaller size, and making them aware of the risks of not binding properly. Everything we did it on a one-to-one basis, like spoke to each person, like 15 of them, talk to them so that they don't bind unsafely, because currently people in India still they are using they do unsafe practices to bind, which worries me a lot. Even recently GC2B, the brand that we buy binders from, has been called out for their quality going down, and that has again worried us about now what do we do, because there have been people who have been coming now, now 3-4 years down the line since we started the project, that it is not feeling nice. They don't feel nice in the binder, it's too tight, or your body becomes sore very quickly, like even in 1 hour or 2 hours of usage, your body becomes sore, which is not a good sign. And right now, currently, we are a team of 10. We started off with only 2 people in 2020, and now we are like 10, 11 people. And we are working with somebody who is kind of trying to make binders, manufacture it in India. Very initial stages. Like, we are not doing it. There's a person who is doing it. We're just helping him out. And possibly looking at other brands which are obviously outside India, but they are right now very expensive, but on a hold right now to see what are the other options that we have. For me, I was, as a child also, I have I'm not ashamed of it, ashamed of saying it today, but I have always masturbated as a child also and grown up to do that. But every time it came to thinking about having sex with somebody else has not gone down well with me personally, not just because it was like shamed by society around you, but personally also I was not always okay with having penetrative sex with like people, penis havers. And I don't know, I've never thought about it till I was 25 and never thought about it also, like, and even till I was 25 I was like, I'll never do it, I don't want to do it ever. Maybe, I don't know, it was because of some essay, like, essays, sexual abuse, or I don't know what could have contributed to me feeling all this while growing up and up until I was 25, I don't know. But when I found out about the label asexuality, it felt like this was me. And even after that, if I have engaged in sexual in intimacy, sexual intimacy, it has been very rare and been with people who I have taken a lot of time to even get to that point. And I still not explored penetrative sex because I've tried it for the sake of it, and it's been very painful and not been comfortable experience for me ever. But I do masturbate as a stim. Like because I've done that since I was a child, and I still do it. And literally lockdown was the first time when I got myself a vibrator. And I don't know, I don't think I need anything else in my life, because sex with people is not something that comes very easily to me. I even take a lot of time to be even sensual or cuddly with people. I take a lot of time to even hug somebody, like as in like in a friendship, I take a lot of time to get there, to give you a longer hug that lasts like more than 10 seconds. It takes a lot of time for me to get there. And if the person in question is if they are in need of it, or if they are rushing for it, it could be anything, and that's all natural. But I suddenly become very averse to the idea of engaging intimately or sexually in any way to people. It takes a lot of time. The only person that I have felt very comfortable was my ex-partner, and and that has taken for us to get sexually close to each other has taken 6 or 7 months. And after we broke up, it's been 8 months more. Now it's been 8 months. I've not seeked that with anybody else because I'm scared. I don't know people. I'm not ready to put that much trust, and because it takes a lot from me. And what am I going to get? What if the other person is not that understanding as my ex-partner, or things like that. So for me, my vibrator is I'm very happy with my vibrator.
How does it feel in your body?
I feel it feels very regulate. That I have control over regulating my emotions and my body, because of ADHD also. I have a lot of racing thoughts. I have a lot of anxiety because of ADHD, and stimming helps me calm down and be grounded. And masturbating does the same. It does calm me down, and it just grounds me. And the whole journey of not feeling ashamed anymore of my habit of masturbating and enjoying it has been a little difficult, but it's been still easier because as soon as I came across the ace community, it was mind-boggling. It's all these things were there inside me forever, since time immemorial. But once I read about it, it found ground. Like I found ground in who I was, and that is why I always like. There are a lot of people who don't like labels, but for me, even as an autistic person, I like knowing stuff. So I love that the fact that my feelings and whatever I go through is defined somewhere, and also the fact that I have the freedom to even modify those definitions. They don't have to be again strictly in those like summed up in those sentences.
Like what you saw? Support us so we can create more empowering content for you. Like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.